So let me say that I'm very happy, honored, and quite impressed that I have you over here in this podcast in the Good Stories, because, obviously you are somebody who has founded an NGO, and your NGO is all about something that surrounds us in Greece. It's about the ocean, the sea, basically. And it's called Octopus. So Lola Ott, thank you so very much for being here. And I want to know everything about your journey.
Thank you, Elpida, for having me in your amazing podcast. So yeah, of course, we can speak about my organization. We are based in Strasbourg, where we don't have the ocean. So that's exactly what we would like to promote. The idea that even if you're living far away from the ocean, you can have a solution and you can take action to restore it and to tackle different type of pollution that you can find in the ocean or seas in general.
Can you please tell me more about what made you, how you arrived? Because I know that you're trained as a lawyer, as my initial journey has been as well, and how you actually came to love so much the sea that you actually decided to create this project.
Actually, you're right. I'm quite connected to Greece because as a humanitarian lawyer, I started to work in Greece. I was working in a refugee camp that was called Doliana camp. It was not far away from Yanina in the mountain, also close to Albania. And there I was confronted to the pollution that all the plastic bottles that were sent created there, and there was no way of recycling all those waste in the mountain. So I started to realize that our consumption was a very big problem. Also in Greece, I realized that on some island like Corfu, the island that I was visiting during the weekend, you couldn't drink water from the tap. So you had to buy a plastic bottle. In France, where I come from, we don't have this problem, although lots of people, they continue to buy plastic bottle. So yeah, at some point I realized that first of all we have to raise awareness about those kind of issues, and then we have to be able to share also solution, and that's what we are doing with Octopus.
Okay, I think there is a beautiful journey that you spoke to me also about, falling in love with the sea, actually, when you lived in the Caribbean. So I think that you also, since you're French, basically, you are connected to these islands. So would you like to tell me more about this, particular journey and how you came to also realize what we're missing?
Of course. So after I realized in Greece by working in a refugee camp that plastic pollution was a big problem and that we had to find a solution for it, I went on a mission in the Caribbean, and there I completely fell in love with the sea marine biodiversity. Martinique is a French island, even though it's really far away from, from Paris and everything we know. Also in the Med Sea, we don't have so much coral reef. We only have a few of them. While in the Caribbean, the biodiversity is really, more diverse. And that's how I decided in the end to change my career, and from humanitarian lawyer to dive into the law of the sea with the idea of sharing what I discovered. So why coral reef matters, why it's important to protect them, even if in the Mediterranean Sea we don't have so much biodiversity, but still they're important. And Yeah, all of this, we find it in the 3 pillars of Octopus, because we raise awareness, we organize cleaning action, and we recycle different kind of waste, such as plastic, but also textile and a lot of stuff. Actually, we have a small local recycling hub. And last but not least, we work on artificial coral reef in the Med. And for now, our first one is in Corfu.
Oh my God. Okay. First of all, I need you to define what is a coral reef, because many people do not actually know what it is. This is I think very, very important. And also I want to shoot you with numerous questions right now about what they're doing, the companies that they're looking for basically for energy and petrol and, all those things. So I think that you have knowledge when it comes to these things as well. So let's talk a little bit more about, what's happening,
So to start with the first question, what is a coral reef? So a coral reef is the natural habitat of corals, and a coral is a mix between an animal, vegetal, I don't know how you translate this, and a mineral. So it's really hybrid. Most of the people, they don't know that a coral is actually an animal, but it is, and that's why it's really interesting to dive into what is a coral, because most of the people, they know coral when they die. So this image when you have white corals, it's actually when they are dead. And this white image that you have is actually the skeleton, because the animal, when it grows, he builds its own skeleton. And when it dies, then you only have this removing.
This remaining. This white remnants, basically.
Exactly. So that's the skeleton of the coral, and that's what we want to avoid. Yes. We want it to be alive. We want it to be colorful, like the images that you can have on internet that you don't find in the Med Sea, because the water is not warm enough. But in the Caribbean, or also in Indonesia, Australia, you have a huge biodiversity.
And what does this say about the ocean? What does this say about the water when you actually have life over there?
It's really interesting because it helps on so many topics that would be really too long to mention them. But first of all, it can protect the sea coast to avoid tsunamis, or really to protect the coast. Then it's also a habitat for fishes, so it increases the food that fishermen can actually get. It's also really helpful for the medicine to fight against cancer, and also it brings oxygen to the ocean, so to the planet in general. So actually, thanks to a coral reef, it allows us to breathe. So
it sustains basically life in the sea and outside of the sea. Okay, yes. I get it.
So
I want to say how far away are we from actually saying that we are protecting now life in the ocean? Please don't tell me we're the kilometers of light away.
What I can tell you is that if we don't do anything, or if we continue to act like we do at the moment, in 2030, so in about 6 years, we are going to lose 99% of the coral reef in the world, which is a very bad news. I'm sorry.
Okay. And what is, in your experience, what is the biggest threat to it? So would you say it's okay, let's say pollution, yes, but when we talk about pollution, we talk about nowadays, many ways of pollution. So what would be the biggest threat actually over there? And how would this biggest threat, let's say, try to incorporate tools in order to not be such a big threat?
In order not to speak about too many topics, because of course we can speak about politician, economy, but I would go for education. I believe that if people knew about why we need the ocean, what is a coral reef, and small action that they can take, we can actually make a change and try to have like healthy ocean. So I really believe in education and what we call low-tech solution, because before we were talking on what is a coral reef. What we do with Octopus is artificial coral reef. It's a bit like permaculture. So
Yes.
we create like structure. And then we go and find like pieces of coral that that are not on the natural habitat anymore because of divers, because of boats, because of the weather. So then we can put them on those like artificial reefs in order for them to grow, and then we put them back to the natural habitats in order for them to survive. So we call also those people like coral gardeners, and that's exactly similar to permaculture. So you have actually a lot of way to act, and you don't have to be close to the sea, you don't have to be a diver, you even don't have to have an interest on it, because for instance the local recycling hub that we are running, some people, they are just dealing with waste because they want to make money out of it, because plastic in the beginning has a value, was a revolution for like many fields, but now with our society and our habits, the single-use plastic is a big issue. I mean, we don't need, for instance, to put like 5 straws in a glass. We can like just take the glass and drink. So
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know it's like the overconsumption of things actually like creates like, has taken a huge toll actually on like everything that has to do with sustainability, with nature, and not many people understand that you don't have to actually like do it for free, as a part of your philanthropy, let's say. But you can actually like, this is all about circular economy. Actually, it allows you to be more aware of your actions. It allows you to give back and receive back as well. So it's more like a part of, a culture that is actually changing right now and saying, you know what, as in Enable Good, for example, when we talk about sustainability, we don't want to be taking pretty pictures. We want you, for example, if I have like a big company or a shipping company or somebody who also aligns, and resonates with your values, to be able to actually participate in this and get something back out of it. Because I think this is all about it. We need to be aware that this is no philanthropy anymore. This is something that will sustain us and keep us safe.
Exactly. Like for me, I really think that now with all the social media and all the information that we get everywhere, in the end, we are completely disconnected with the nature, disconnected with our environment, sometimes even with our families, friends, and it's really important to just like step back and see what is around us. And I do understand that sometimes like you have to work, and you can work for a big company that maybe does not things like really great, but still, like on your daily life, you can take habits. You can say no to single-use plastic, have a reusable bottle, maybe support an organization, do, I don't know, cleaning action during the weekend, or even if you're not into it, just by also going for slow travel, or you have like so many way of taking action that education is what matters the most, because if you don't know what you can do, then there is no way for you or your company to take action or support people who are actually doing good.
I think that's very, very important. And I think it's also like something that has to do, they call it international development goals. But I think it's, more about what we personally do and how we take care of ourselves by also giving back. And on this note, I really want to thank you for being here on this teeny tiny journey with me. Well, it lasted actually 1 month, but I am very grateful that we are able actually to give back to each other, to learn, amazing things from each other, to also be able to share our skill sets with each other. And it has been a great honor